Good morning, Stewart's Chapel. This is Brother Don Pierson, and this is Tuesday's devotion. And I asked Don to get a shot of this wrong road that just goes down in front of my house and then disappears. I want to use that image as we look at this scripture, James chapter 5, verses 1 through 6. Come now, there's that phrase again. Come now, you rich, weep and howl for your miseries that are coming upon you. In other words, judgment is coming upon them. Right now they think that, remember, let's go back, way back to chapter 1. Remember, there was two groups of Jewish Christians that had been scattered. One group was scattered because of captivity, and they believed that bad things happened to people because they did bad. The other group of Jewish Christians were those that were recently scattered because of being a Christian. They were persecuted for being a Christian in Jerusalem and were scattered, and they realized that bad things happen to you when you do good. This group here, they're rich among them, and they think they're rich because, well, they deserve it. Well, that's not the case, and God's about to say, that's all about to change. Howl for your miseries that are coming upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver are corroded, and their corrosion will be a witness against you, and will eat your flesh like fire. You have heaped up treasures in the last days. Indeed, the wages of the laborers who mowed your fields, which you kept back by fraud, they cry out against you, and the criers of the reapers have reached the ears of the Lord of the Sabbath, the Lord of hosts. You have lived on the earth in pleasure and luxury. You have fattened your hearts as in a day of slaughter. You have condemned, you have murdered the just. He does not resist you. Now, this section of Scripture is about judgment that is coming. You see, these individuals have been going along a road that has been leading away from God. They've been going down that road for some time. Yes, they're believers. They are convinced that they are blessed with riches because they are good. And they've been going down that road, and they've been taking advantage of other Christians. And this has been dealt with many, many times. And they are headed down the same path. And God has been trying to turn them in the book of James. But here at the end, God says to them, He says, your path is leading you to misery, to ruin. Your path, the trail that you're on, is leading you not where you think it's going to take you. You are going away from me instead of coming towards me. You're on a road that is leading to destruction. In the last days, when you should have been seeking me and doing more for me, you've been hoarding and building more houses, gathering and gathering. You've been doing the exact opposite of what I desire for you to do in the last days. You have been collecting. You pride yourself at low wages. You boast because of the deals you get at someone else's expense. Oh yes, you are a shrewd businessman. You gain at the expense of others. And God says, your path is about to come to an end. I wonder how many Christians today literally ignore the fact that we're in the last of the last days. And in a time of prosperity, they are building more, gathering more, collecting more. And God gets their leftovers. And His people get their leftovers. I'd like to say, like I usually do, I love you, Steers Chapel, but I'm going to tell you something. I despise that kind of attitude. Those who rent out slums, they will rent out stuff that they will never live in themselves. They would never think of even spending a weekend. But they will rent it out because they can. They will have no problem in collecting and collecting. But they'll be there Sunday, and they think that's enough. You see, this scripture is not a popular scripture for today. It is a path that many are on, and they are convinced that God is pleased. Not the case. Let me just say I'm done today.